Am I the a-hole for installing cat scares? Our neighbors have at least 5 cats, whilst we have no pets at all. We would get the occasional cat poo on our lawn, but it only happened once in a blue moon, so we didn't mind that much. A couple of months ago, our neighbors decided to pave over both their front and back gardens, which were almost all grass, so the front and back is now one huge patio. Immediately after this happened, we saw a dramatic increase in the numbers of piles of cat poo we found on our lawn. I'm talking at least 2 huge piles per day. The poo is usually mucus-y, sloppy, and the cats never even attempt to bury it. This is ruining our grass, to the point where it now looks like it has yellow polka dots all over it. We tried some random methods of deterring the cats from Google, for example putting bowls of vinegar out, leaving thick cables lying on the lawn so the cats think they are snakes, but nothing has helped. We finally decided to invest in some ultrasonic motion detecting cat scares, which work a treat. However, about 3 days after installing the cat scares, our neighbor came to our door and demanded that we take them down. She tells us that the cats are now terrified to go outside and this has caused them to defecate in the house instead. We told her that we have a right to prevent animals from destroying our property, and they should have considered their cats when they decided to remove their main toileting areas. Am I the a-hole for keeping the cat scares up? I have outdoor cats and they very rarely use their litter trays, but we keep them there and clean all the time just in case. If my neighbors wanted to use a deterrent I'd encourage it. A loud noise or even shooting them with a water pistol seem perfectly humane training methods to me, as long as they don't hurt the animal. It has to be something they don't like, otherwise the negative reinforcement won't work. I've scared other cats off my property when they weren't getting on with my cats before. I clap and shout at my own cats if they do something I don't want them to do, even though I'm one of those people who call them babies. It's just basic training. We also hardly ever need to clean the litter box. We check it every day of course, since our cat prefer the outdoors and our potato field is her absolute favorite. When I had just watered it and it was extremely cat unfriendly, she looked at me angry and then pooped right on the lawn, but she still covered it up very neatly. I don't think these cats are cared for properly. Cats are very clean animals. When they don't cover up or goes where they shouldn't, they don't have the proper places to go to. Or they did have them in your neighbor's yard but they took it away completely. It's not universal to every cat. But most cats tend to be territorial to some degree, usually depending on whether they were in the home first before a second cat was brought home, or if they were adopted at the same time / littermates. Sometimes it can be severe enough that separate bowls, litter trays, beds and toys would be needed, cause the smell of the other cat would distress them, or seeing the other cat use their thing would initiate a fight. Most however can share a home relatively well. The litter tray equation is mostly as a previous commentator mentioned, that if the tray is in use, or the cat considers it full, they'll look for other places to go to the bathroom. Just like people, cats are individual, some can't stand sharing, and some won't care. The issue comes with the fights that can happen if a territorial cat feels the need to protect their space, so providing personal things that they don't need to share can greatly reduce the chances of any getting hurt. This is an uphill battle in some countries. Where I am originally from in the UK, and where I live now in Denmark, many people believe having indoor-only cats is cruel to them. A friend of mine was denied adopting 2 kittens that had spent almost all their lives indoors because he lives in an apartment and the kittens needed to be able to go outdoors, and that is non-negotiable. Pretty much every other cat there had the same requirement, and this is a fairly well-known shelter for the area. I want a cat here in Denmark someday, and that cat would be indoors since we are in an apartment, but if I had a garden I'd look into a nice patio. I don't mind if they eat. Same for Germany. Even environmental organizations are saying that domesticated cats are basically a non-issue for our bird population, since in the city and suburbs, where most cats are located, bird populations are still higher than usual, due to human influence. On the countryside there are far too few domesticated cats to make a significant impact. The only real threat posed by domesticated cats is for our population of wild cats, since they could possibly get extinct due to an increase of inbreeding by unsterilized stray cats. Stray cats also can indeed pose a risk to bird populations, but are extremely rare in Germany, compared to the rest of the world. BTW, many people here seem to forget that there are differences in animal species on different continents. FR when you talk to a cat owner about this, it's always, well, my cat wouldn't hurt a fly. Alright Janice, but you don't see what your cat's doing for the 8 hours they're roaming around outside, so how true is that really? Also, Cats are a menace in so many other ways, as exampled in this post. My neighbor has the most irritating Bengal they let roam around, and it has broken into my house before and absolutely terrified my pet birds. Like I am now unable to open my windows in summer because my pets are being endangered by your pet. I guess stressing and potentially injuring my pet is completely fine though. Heaven forbid Mr. Tibbles has to suffer the cruelty of living indoors. This same cat comes up to me when I'm in my garden and bites/scratches me for no reason. I've taken to spraying it with a hose pipe when it comes over. Like if people let their dogs roam around, shitting everywhere, breaking into people's houses, stealing and begging for food from everyone, biting and scratching people, etc., it would get put down. Why do we tolerate it with cats? The cruel thing doesn't even make sense. We keep all other pet animals indoors and meet their needs through monitored walks or creating indoor environments for them to exercise in. Why do we treat cats differently? Okay, I don't say I agree with just letting your cat roam free wherever it wants, but the numbers you are posting are very skewed and need a lot more explanation. First of all, the outdoor number is a number that exclusively considers cats who live outside 100% of the time, not cats who have a home. Mostly such cats don't have owners and are not properly cared for. They are more prone to disease as nobody would take them to the vet, and they have no regular nutrition as they have no regular feeding times. Of course, such cats would live shorter lives. In addition, we need to consider that such an average is pulled down by cats who die in car accidents, cats who are killed by humans, cats who die due to other accidents. A cat who is well cared for and has an opportunity to go outside into a safe environment will always be healthier than a pure indoor cat. We had 3 semi-outdoor cats growing up, one living to be 19 years old, another 21 and another a phenomenal 24 years old. They had a large communal garden which was closed off to roam in, but spent most of the day at home and roamed during the night. UK resident here, with 3 indoor cats, and I am definitely in the minority. There are always arguments from people saying keeping them in is cruel, but our 3 have a huge house to run around in, 3 cat trees, extra toys and scratch posts, 4 litter trays, and get to come out in the garden with us on leads. Not that the 2 boys are remotely interested in being outside. Of course, each cat is different, and personality and past plays a part, but there's no reason indoor cats can't be happy and healthy. Also, NTA to op, I fully endorse measures taken to make sure other people's cats don't crap all over your lawn. But they can still have accidents and be injured, and as Op's post shows, they can be ill, and if you're not seeing the news in the litter box, you could miss it. I get where people are coming from. My job involves frequently looking through newspaper archives for my local town, and back in the early 1900s, people used to let their dogs roam free. When the city tried to pass a leash law, people fought it because dogs should be able to roam free. It made them happy. You couldn't pen in man's best friend. And it does make sense for us to want our animals to be happy. But then in 1905 or 1906, there was a major rabies outbreak, and more than a dozen dogs had to be killed. Tragically, a young boy also was bitten and died of rabies. The leash law passed that year, and today everyone keeps their dogs in yards or indoors when they're not being walked on a leash or at a designated dog park. I know rabies is not currently in the UK, but that doesn't mean there aren't other diseases cats could catch and spread, like that stiff cat one a couple years ago. I don't know about mainland Europe or Denmark specifically. But it's just a huge risk. My city has fines for pets that are left to wander. It starts at $150 and is increased every time they are caught. After a certain number of catches, I think like 4, you don't get your pet back. Cats are so bad for the bird, bug, and smaller animal ecosystems to boot, and outdoor cats have a much shorter lifespan. 2 to 5 outdoor, 10 to 15 indoor. Not to mention it's just rude to let your pets defecate all over people's properties. My cat is indoor and she's leash trained so we can walk her and take her hiking. I could never just let her loose to become a neighborhood nuisance. Can confirm that at least in my area of the US, a cat that lays on someone's car not parked on the cat owner's property or defecates on someone else's lawn is considered a nuisance animal, and the owner of the car or lawn has the ability to call animal control and request that traps be placed on their property. People rarely go so far as to call animal control, but it occasionally happens when cats are poorly cared for and they don't respond to the deterrence.